It's Quest,
the adventure game podcast.
How you doing, Jess?
Ben, I have to tell you, I'm fantastic. And you know why?
Mm-hmm.
I am fueled by borscht.
All right. Okay, first, quickly,
FBB.
I'm Ben PS_Cleric on Twitch.
I'm Decaf Jedi. Whatever. You don't care about that.
Yeah, okay. Like, we're getting right into it. I want to know, I was thinking about, for this episode, this comes out the week of American Thanksgiving.
Prime borscht season.
So I was
For
like,
communists
maybe if we don't have food stuff to talk about, we could talk about this. But I know you're a borscht head. Right?
I am a borscht head. Yes, absolutely. I am obsessed with it. I was at work today, and I got a text from my wife, and she said, "Borscht is in the crock pot." And I thought to myself, how can I find a way to leave work even 5 minutes early so I can get home?
You Fred Flintstone?
Yeah, no, like I was speeding down the interstate at like 90 miles per hour. It's like, I've got to get home. I've got to get to this delicious beet soup that's waiting for me at home.
It's like a cop pulls you over and is like, hey, where's the fire? And you look at him and you go, where's the borscht? And he goes, all right.
Yeah, that's right.
Come on right through.
Yeah, he actually gave me an escort. He turned on his lights and drove me the rest of the way home.
It's like, as long as you give me a bowl, not a cup.
And I said, no way, ma'am. Sorry, pig.
You're cool, Jess. That's so cool.
I'm just trying to win over the viewers who are listeners, technically.
Yeah. Wow. You told them. Yeah, that's extreme, man.
Got his ass. Yeah, but no, I mean, borscht is wonderful. Borscht. I mean, have I ever told you the story the first time I had borscht?
Illuminate me. Tell me the Jess's borscht tales.
Okay, so I mean, this will eventually be a big part of my memoir, but
but just a sneak peek.
Yeah, there's a local Russian monastery here, a Russian Orthodox monastery with some monks that make like soap and honey and all the things that you expect, like monks at a monastery.
Do they make interesting ales?
I'm not sure if they do. They didn't have them when I went. My attendance was they had an open house night for the community where it's like, come in, we are going to do a big dinner. We're having like a big Russian feast and we invite the community in to come enjoy this. So me and my family and some friends decided.
How recent was this? Because I thought this was years ago, but now
this has been like 10 years ago. This is like 10 years ago. So me and some friends and my family all roll into this monastery, and we get there to discover we are the only people from the community who have shown up to an entire congregation of people who actually attend this Russian Orthodox church. Okay. So we are the only like people not part of this organization, but we are welcomed with open arms. I've never been to a church where you walk in and like someone in a robe immediately pours you like the biggest shot glass of vodka you've ever seen. But this is very much what the monks were doing upon entry at this cool monastery.
So these monks like to party.
These monks love to party, and they had borscht
Are
there.
you saying that they would flip off the cops too?
They didn't seem like they gave a flip about anything. Yeah, okay. I mean, you know how Friar Tuck was in Conquest of the Longbow?
Well, he loved spanking the sheriff, which is a phrase I use in my household for something else.
But yeah, so I like tried borscht for the first time. It's amazing. And also I repeated a constant Jess mistake, which was forgetting that
you mistook them for Ukrainians, and they took great offense.
It was awkward. No, my classic problem, Ben, I don't know if you've ever had this, of thinking that like 2 halves of a deviled egg doesn't add up to an egg, and therefore eating like 18 halves of deviled
Oh.
eggs. I made which is a constant mistake in my
Oh.
life. Just like I see deviled eggs and I love deviled eggs. And it's easy to convince yourself you didn't just eat like 6 eggs in a row when you're just really enjoying a deviled egg. But the reality is those are eggs and the
Yeah.
math starts to pile up. But
Right.
the borscht was incredible. And since then we've had borscht a few times a year. And boy, on a chilly day, there's nothing better. A little dollop of sour cream in there.
Yeah.
That good borscht soup.
Yeah, there's
Mm.
a very there's an excellent Ukrainian restaurant here in Chicago. I went to much earlier in the year when it was still quite cold, like in February, and I had the borscht there, and it was out of this world, incredible. I've never made. Is it hard to make? Like I guess you like. Is it just a bunch of shit in the crock pot? Like you just give it a lot of time?
Essentially, yeah. Well, not a lot of time, a lot of dill. Um,
Very humorous.
Thank you. That's what I was going for. Yeah. No, I mean it's yeah, you just throw some beets, some potatoes, some onions. We used a little bit of beef in this one. We've used pork
Mm,
at other
mhm.
times in there and just like all the dill in the world. Like you put in as much dill as you think is normal, then you triple that and
Yeah.
you're good to go. I mean, it was
Maybe I'm
delicious.
gonna
We even
make some
used
borscht.
canned beets on this one, and it wasn't too
Even
bad.
use
Usually,
canned beets?
yeah, usually we would use fresh ones, but we just use canned ones. And you know what? Very good.
Have you ever had beet hummus?
No, I love beets though, and I'm now completely intrigued by this
Yeah,
concept.
it's hummus that you make with beets instead
Hmm.
of chickpeas. And what I really like about it, like first off, it's quite tasty.
Hmm.
But second off, it's really great at a party because it's like this brilliant, beautiful purple.
Yeah.
Like it's this bright, like purple dip that you could put
Hmm.
in like the centerpiece, and then you could put like like you could put like if you're someone that's kind of interested in like kind of making like kind of a like an image of your spread, like you surround it with like carrots and shit. It looks like a fucking like a Star Trek like something they'd have because it's this big beautiful purple dip.
Yeah, sounds hard
It's
to beat.
gorgeous and it's delicious too.
Yeah, no, I mean, of course. I mean, it sounds amazing. I mean, I've had peanut hummus, but basically that's just like a poor man's peanut butter.
Yeah, yeah.
This
And
is
it's just
this is like
yeah.
a beet nut butter. Mr.
uh
Beet Nut Butter.
I don't have any interesting food news for this week, but it is that as I was saying, like I've been thinking about like this episode will come out. We're recording a little ahead,
Hmm.
uh,
It's curly
since
April.
yeah, it's yeah. It's just warming up a little bit outside. But uh you know, so what do you do Thanksgiving, or do you go down to your family or your wife's family, or what's who
We
you
mix it up. Normally, we go to see my wife's family, and a lot of
okay.
times we'll end up meeting in like some sort of neutral location, which
Mm,
is usually
sure.
like a
So
bad
you can
solution.
exchange the hostages.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah.
On neutral ground. Yeah.
Right.
I mean, it kind of does feel like that at some
Mhm,
level, but
mhm.
I mean, that always leads to bad Thanksgiving because you're like in a rental home or like hotel somewhere.
It's gotta be in your someone's
Yeah.
actual house.
Not only does it not feel homey, but also just like you don't have the cooking utensils and pots and pans and stuff you need to make a proper meal in a place like that. So
No.
this year, fortunately, we're going to be home for Thanksgiving, and my parents are coming to see us. So we'll get
Oh,
to
how
have
nice.
the Thanksgiving meal that we love. Ben, what is the best Thanksgiving food? Go.
You know, hmm. You know what's really like uh I don't know if I have an answer. Like, I love my mom makes these incredible dinner rolls
Ah,
that are quite
yeah.
good.
I mean, that's the
I
honest answer for me too. Is a good roll, but
yeah, my
I feel like
mom
I have to
makes
have
these
yeah.
really really good dinner rolls. Like from scratch dinner
Mm-hmm.
rolls. They like she puts them in this like basket, which I think this is the only time that this basket is used.
Yes.
It's wrapped in like, a special cloth. They're nice and warm. You break them open, you put some butter on them, and it melts immediately. Like if I'm thinking about Thanksgiving, I'm thinking about those rolls. Like
Yeah.
because it's like everything else is good and I've had some like really spectacular Thanksgivings and for many years while I lived here in Chicago, I did Friendsgivings where
Yes. We did a
I
lot of
I
those.
was I was like and I still am of the opinion it's like I'm only traveling back like I don't live like I live a distance from my family. So it's like I was like you only get me for Thanksgiving or Christmas. I'm only
Mm-hmm.
coming for Christmas. And
So you can get
then
you want to rack up all those big gifts.
yeah. And then after and so it was I would be here for Thanksgiving, I'd fly back for Christmas. And then after 2020, I switched them. I was like, I'll
Ah.
go back for Thanksgiving and I'll stay here for Christmas. And uh and part of that is because like I have such a large family. Like it used to be able to get all of us together under one roof for Christmas, and now
Yeah.
that is not possible. And we don't even get everybody under the same roof for Thanksgiving, but we get a lot of people.
Yeah.
We got a bunch of
Yeah.
my
Yeah.
family in there. And so that's pretty good. And but like for Friendsgiving, I loved the funny thing about Friendsgiving is I loved it, did it for years. It was always like a potluck. We would split it up. And then and like, my favorite thing to do for it was I loved making desserts. I love making desserts
Ah.
in general. I love
Mm-hmm.
baking a pie. I like making, like brownies and cookies and whatever else. The problem is that if you make those for Thanksgiving, uh generally you're taking most of that back home because everybody is going to be stuffed. Like
Yeah.
nobody is having like, a ton of turkey
Yeah.
and all these appetizers and blah blah blah, and then
Mhm.
at the end it's like and here's like three different pies.
I was gonna say, especially if there are multiple pies, everybody's like, I will have the tiniest sliver of the pumpkin pie that can be considered a sliver of
Right.
pie, and like a little bite of this apple crumbly thing, and half of that's going to sit on their plate probably at the end of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean it's tough. It's always tough.
you know and I forget what friend made it, but I also have like a recollection of somebody making mashed sweet potatoes with like candied pecans mixed in, and like the
Yeah,
texture and the sweetness of
yeah,
those pecans was always my favorite. But
yeah.
anyway, yeah. I love Thanksgiving, but
Mhm. I used
I
to have the
love
ultimate racket for Thanksgiving. We had some friends from
yeah.
Canada that we would do friends
Oh.
Canadian Thanksgiving with.
Oh.
And you see, the advantage there is you get two Thanksgivings. It's like having divorced parents. It's everything you ever dreamed of at the
Oh,
holidays.
dude.
We would get the Friendsgiving for Canadian Thanksgiving a few weeks early, and then roll right into real Thanksgiving.
Do they do turkey? I've never actually thought about this. Do they do like what is the like the main platter for Canadian Thanksgiving? Is it also turkey? I would
Our friends
assume not.
did. Our friends did a very American Canadian
Mhm.
Thanksgiving, but that could have been a gesture of kindness to us. They didn't want to frighten us away with their strange exotic foods. Otherwise, it'd just be poutine and like Tim Hortons donuts. I'm thinking, yeah, it was
I just pulled up something from Reddit, which is always correct.
yes.
And the top rated answer to the same question was everything is the same, but no green bean casserole.
Well, that's a shame because that is my.
Oh,
If I'm
that's
being
that's one of
honest,
the
like
best.
after rolls, which are the best answer, green bean, and I want a trashy green bean casserole. I just want like
Oh, you
green
want the
beans,
you want the
cream of
nasty ones?
mushroom soup, and
Oh yeah,
French's onion.
yeah.
I like the just basic. I've had good green bean casseroles made with love and care and fresh ingredients, and they're good. But deep down in my heart of hearts, I want that. I want that, like, you know, it's a green bean casserole I grew up with.
So about two Thanksgivings. When I was a kid, I would get two Thanksgivings because my mom, who at the time was a nurse, she would always work Thanksgiving. Like she would always work it, and so we would always celebrate Thanksgiving on that weekend. Um, and it was never like it was just like, yeah, all right, no, we're just doing on Saturday instead of Thursday. Not a problem. But then like what would happen is I would just go over to other people's Thanksgivings. It's like, oh, you're not doing Thanksgiving today? Do you want to come along? And it's like,
Oh, if I have to.
yeah.
I mean,
And so
there's
I would get
room.
two Thanksgivings within the space of 2 days.
Oh, wow.
What's is it dinner rolls for you?
I think I don't like to say that answer. Like, I feel like
I don't like to say it either. It feels so boring.
And there's so much. I mean, like, if you ask me right now, like, you could have one bite of Thanksgiving, a really good bite of a fresh out of the oven roll is probably what I would choose. That sounds amazing. Yeah, no, I think if I'm being completely honest, it's the rolls. If I'm giving my, like, I'm trying to impress somebody answer. And Ben, I wouldn't do that to you. I wouldn't big league you with my answer. I'd probably say green bean casserole, but yeah.
Are you how are you on stuffing versus potatoes?
We usually have both.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm probably more of a stuffing guy of the two, but neither one is my favorite component of a Thanksgiving meal.
Here's the thing, is that I think I am more a potato man.
Mm-hmm.
But you only ever get stuffing at Thanksgiving.
This is true. This is true.
And so I have to so it's like, I think I like potatoes more, but stuffing, or dressing, if you want to be more technically correct, because generally we don't
stuff it.
Stuffing in a turkey, it's not safe.
Yes.
But like stuffing, it's like I have it because it's just like, well, when else am I gonna have a bunch of toasty bread mixed with nuts?
Yeah. No, this is true. I mean, like, here's the thing: mashed potatoes, they're coming back at Easter. You're gonna have mashed potatoes, just like you might even have them at Christmas. Potatoes,
they're coming back, just any time.
They're coming out if I go out to dinner.
I'll mash potato any day of the week. You give me a potato.
Mashed potato. I can do the twist. Do the twist. Now telling me. Yeah, no, I'm sorry. You were saying?
I was saying, what have you been playing?
Oh my gosh, Ben. What have I been playing? This afternoon, I was back on my retro handheld bullshit.
About the Anbernic.
I got the Anbernic out. I was busting it out and having a little bit of fun. I was playing a game that I find kind of fascinating, kind of love. It's one that I've played through before, but it's been years and years. I was playing The Death and Return of Superman for the Super NES, which came out.
I'm really unfamiliar with this.
Okay, it's 1994. It's based on,
of course,
the famous Death of Superman storyline. It's basically a side-scrolling beat 'em up.
It would have to be a beat 'em up.
Yeah, and you play as all the four fake Supermen who showed up to protect Metropolis after Superman died. So, yeah, you can choose. Like, you can be like Superboy, the Metropolis Kid, the Eradicator, Cyborg Superman. Steel, I guess, was the other one, later played by Shaquille O'Neal in the film Steel. You can be any of those four guys. What's interesting about this to me is I think it is like, hey, it's a fun side scrolling. It's got some beautiful graphics for the 16-bit era. But what I love about it is the developer is one Blizzard Entertainment.
Oh.
So this is a Blizzard game, weirdly, but then the publisher is Sunsoft and Acclaim.
Great.
Can you imagine a stranger mismatch of a company known for quality products
Yep.
being published by Sunsoft and Acclaim, who are not. It's like an arrow.
Are you telling me that Acclaim has ever put out a poor game?
I mean,
me that?
Didn't they make one? Didn't they adapt Mortal Kombat for consoles? Is that them? Is that Acclaim?
I don't know anything about Mortal Kombat.
Just last week, Ben, I thought you were like, oh, I have my PhD now in Mortal Kombat. I spent $39.99 on this collection.
I spent $49.99.
Oh, well, then you should really know what you're talking about. But
no. Obviously, Acclaim was well known for garbage.
It's satisfying in that way that all side-scrolling beat-em-ups from the mid-1990s are all equally satisfying. You know, it's hard to sort of screw up that genre if you have decent-looking character sprites and a few cool abilities, and this game has those things. It's a nice-looking game.
I'm looking. Well, all right. Well, first off, what a cool cover.
Absolutely, you got a bloody Superman emblem.
Fist.
Yeah, that's Doomsday's fist punching through there. The creature who kills Superman.
And then I looked at And then I looked at a screenshot here, and it looks exactly like what I thought it looked like.
Yeah, no, I mean this one's straight down the middle. It is not throwing any curveballs at you at all. But like I said, it's a really fun game.
I think I even hear it in my mind. Like I've never played this. But I know exactly how it sounds, like the SNES, like kind of like tune. Like I just know. I just know everything about this game. I know.
Imagine the sound effect of punching somebody, because I bet you can really hear that too. Yeah, I mean it is exactly what you think.
I've clicked here. It looks like there's an elevator level, of course.
Mm-hmm. Gotta have that.
Now here's a question: does this have like a steep, like an early, like in the first level or two, not too hard, and then like a vertiginous difficulty jump, so you keep renting?
Not as bad as like if it were a coin op. The fact that this wasn't adapted from a coin op at least means it doesn't have that how can we make you plunk quarters difficulty spike, but it does have enough of one that you're probably unlikely to beat it overnight without some without some like cheat codes and extra lives and things like that. You know, in a world of save states, like all of these sorts of games, it's like a 40-minute long game.
So I just pulled up the YouTube long play and started to play it for a little bit. And you want to know what? I was absolutely right. I know I was exactly correct on how this game sounds.
Now, I do think it's one of the games where the Genesis version sounds very different.
Oh, for sure. I mean, it probably sounds better.
Yeah, the Genesis chiptune sound is very different from Super NES. I always prefer Super NES just because it's what I grew up with. I
grew up with the Genesis. That's why.
Yeah, I mean, Ben does what Jess don't, as we like to say around here.
That's right.
Ben, what have you been playing?
I just picked up Luminous Arise.
Oh,
the new version of the great puzzle game Luminous. Have you ever played Luminous?
No.
So Luminous is, if you're unfamiliar, it was the PSP launch title.
Oh.
It is someone at Sony was like, well, you launch a new portable, you gotta have a Tetris.
Gotta have a Tetris.
Gotta have a Tetris.
Gotta have my Tetris.
And so, Luminous was, is a match for a game where and it's kind of hard to explain. But it's essentially it's as simple as there are two colors. You get blocks of 4, which can be combinations of those two colors. You want to match 4. So straightforward so far. And then there is a line like kind of scanning across.
Mm-hmm.
And when you like it will get rid of like the squares that you made when it scans across. So you get bigger combos if you build up more like, before the scan hits it. So you actually have, so it's not that it immediately like, collapses and scores. It's that you can build combos and stuff like that as the scanner is coming by. And also it's like if you get enough for the scanner, then you get like, multipliers for the next scan that comes through. And it's great. It's hard. It is definitely a pretty like, it takes me a little while to really reworm my brain.
Oh, I bet.
Back up into like Tetris. I can pick up immediately, and I'm in it. I'm in Tetris. But Luminous takes me a little while to do that, and maybe it's just because I didn't have a PSP, so I only played Luminous like later, and I didn't play it as this is the launch title for this expensive portable I just purchased, so that means I'm going to play this a million times,
Yes.
So maybe it is a little more intuitive if I had it in my bones, in the same way that Meteos, because I got a DS instead. Meteos, I have that ability, which was the DS's. We have to have a Tetris game.
I mean, this is probably, for me, the only portable I ever owned was the original Game Boy, and absolutely, that's why Tetris is the only game like this that my brain can comprehend in any way. I'm looking at this though, and Luminous Arise has some really gorgeous, trippy graphics.
Yeah.
Like
so that's what
it's trippy, psychedelic, kind of cool stuff.
So Luminous Arise is they also were the people that did Tetris Effect, which have you played Tetris Effect?
Ooh, I don't know if I have. Which
do you know what Tetris Effect? Because Tetris Effect is essentially Tetris with great music and trippy visuals.
Oh wait, I did. I was trying to remember which like more modern Tetris I played. Maybe I
you
did
should
play
get that
one.
next Steam sale.
You
have
did.
not.
I played this one. Yeah, no, this is the one I did play. I can't keep the Tetris series straight.
And so
so hard to follow the lore.
Yeah. And so Luminous Arise is essentially just Tetris Effect, except it's
I'll take it.
Luminous, and so it's like you go through and you match up enough, and then you move on to whatever the next song and the next weird trippy thing is. And like Tetris Effect, it has a VR mode which I've poked around in. It's great.
Yeah. If I had to describe the visuals in one word, it'd probably be, let's say, Lynchian.
Well, I'm not even going to dignify that because we have an email.
Oh.
questquestpodcast@gmail.com. The email is titled Space Quest.
We've been talking about that lately.
It is it begins. To whom it may concern, I am over 30 years old.
Uh-oh.
Congratulations. So are we. With regards to Space Quest and its place in the canon, something that has always stood out to me is how it is somehow a parody of a genre that has yet to be fully established. Great point. As you mentioned, it is the second Quest game, and yet it toys with many of the conventions of what existing Sierra games were, and also the ones to come. This isn't always obvious, I think, to those of us over the age of 30, yet too young to have played the game when it came out, which is another element of these older games that fascinates me. How different generations take something different out of these titles. Parentheses. I'm much closer to Ben's age than Jess is, so a lot of what he said resonated with me in this regard. Many people say that to me constantly.
We don't encourage people to send us emails telling us which one of us they like better, but if you want to, we're open to read them.
we're not saying liked better, just saying resonated better.
All the Jess heads out there, please get your emails in, questquestpodcast@gmail.com, and say why you think my points are better.
Ben Heads, questquest podcast@gmail.com, or if I resonate more.
Yeah.
Anyway, it continues. Anyway, final comment, if you've bothered to read this far. This is not that long. I think Mark Crow peaks in Space Quest 2.
This is bold. I like this, though. I like this take.
It looks incredible, so I'm not going to disagree. Whatever other faults people might have with that masterpiece, parentheses, and I will performatively choose not to understand those complaints for the purposes of this email, close parentheses. That game is gorgeous.
The game is gorgeous.
To be able to do what he does with so low a resolution and color, correct spelling. That was in parentheses. And I wanted so color, so that with the COLOUR.
The Canadian spelling.
All right, now do you think we're getting a little bit of the famous dry British humor, OUR, with that he typoed correct?
I mean, I've never known this emailer Gareth to engage in humor.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, I've never known him to be a humorous person. So, yeah, it would surprise me if this was meant to be in a joking tone.
CORECT spelling, close parentheses. The color palette is truly remarkable. Kind regards, Gareth. Yes. Ben resonates with me more.
Oh, really? He put that part in at the end,
He put that in.
Wow. Did you say anything below that about me?
PPS, no.
Oh, wow. That's odd. Strange. Okay. Well, there you have it, I guess.
PPPS. I anticipated Jess's comments, so it's not weird.
Well, I have known Gareth for a really long time. So that does check out. Yeah, that's good. Gareth, thank you so much for sending that in. You're correct. People who are out there on the internet saying bad things about Space Quest 2 should be ashamed of themselves.
So, all right, Jess, let's do it. We have to clear the air.
Oh man, we have to close the loop.
And yeah, I think it's time, because we didn't have an answer to this last week, because last week ironically was recorded a day after 2 weeks ago.
You might need a pencil and paper for that, gang, but just trust us. The timeline makes sense here.
But we didn't have, so there was this grand mystery. There was this grand mystery. Jess and I both believed that in one of the Space Quest collections, in the manual, in the little CD jewel case,
in the jewel case, booklet,
under the entry for Space Quest 2, it said what, Jess?
It said essentially that Space Quest 2 feels more like Roberta Williams on a particularly funny day. It's how it describes the vibe of Space Quest 2 in this manual that we both believe to have held in our hands and read with our human eyes.
I have such a clear memory of this.
Yes. I remember thinking to myself, I will never forget this moment that I read this. This is indelibly linked into my memories now.
So Jess, what have you discovered? Did you find which Space Quest manual, what collection this was in?
I have consulted our community, and I have consulted the Space Quest historian.
So I jokingly have referred to you saying you're the Space Quest historian, but this is the definitive.
Yes, the real Space Quest historian, our good friend Trolls, who tells me apparently I am the origin of this quote from my website, Roger Wilco's Virtual Broomcloset. It turns out that given the launch date of this website, I may have originated being mean about Roberta Williams on the internet, and I feel very guilty about this.
Well, this
I may have
isn't
originated
even.
being mean about Space Quest 2 as
Yeah.
well. Like I'm possibly patient zero for both of these incorrect trends.
Well, thank you. It's time for you to sit down and listen.
Yeah.
Uh,
I owe Roberta Williams an apology.
yeah. Now, and that's a really interesting fact about your website, the virtual broom closet, celebrating 30 years.
Mm-hmm.
But we're not here to talk about the virtual broom closet today. Like, I just had to close the loop on that,
Yeah.
Like, if we were talking about your website, the virtual broom closet, like if that's what we were talking about today, that might have been interesting to discuss.
And like a segue.
But that's not what we're here to talk about today. We're here to talk about
Shivers 2?
No, come on, Jess. I'm not going to. First off, we would have to talk about Shivers 1 first, or I think it's called Shivers.
Shivers Chapter 1.
Yeah,
the
I don't
Shivers
think,
encounter.
But no. Today, I didn't. All these weeks passed. Like, I prepared. I played. Return of the Phantom, and I played Lighthouse: The Dark Being, and I played Spellcaster 101. Sorcerers get all the girls or whatever. But this time, after and every time you're like, I want to talk about Space Quest. I want to talk about Space Quest. So this time I went ahead and I played Space Quest If, Roger Wilco and the Time Rippers. And so I'm actually, here's a question for you.
Yeah.
So wait. So Space Quest 4 is Space Quest 4 Roger Wilco and the Time Rippers, correct?
Yes.
And that's in reference to the massive cartoon like Roger Wilco on the box?
Yes.
But we have that same big Roger Wilco on 5 and 6's boxes. But they're
the big
not
logo.
Like Space Quest 5, Roger Wilco and the Next Mutation, or Roger Wilco and the Spinal Frontier, correct?
I mean, I've seen it rendered that way, but also it's like, I mean, these games, like the titles are, I don't know.
They're very funny.
I mean, I think even as like, are the Time Rippers the sequel police? Are they Roger Wilco Jr.?
Wait a minute, yeah, there aren't Time Rippers. Well, and
nobody's.
But anyway.
But I mean,
but then, so we're going to I played all of Space Quest 4, a game I don't care for, to be honest. And but I played it, and then I played it again. I played the EGA version, which how because like some of the SEI Sierra games, they just had like a filter, some sort of something. It just kind of auto EGA'd it.
Yeah, like a graphics driver that like downscales it or whatever.
But like the Space Quest 4 version is a completely different version, which they redrew in 16 colors.
Yeah, you know what's interesting about that?
Yeah.
Like on my website, Roger Wilco's Virtual Broom Closet.
Which we're not talking about today.
No, I have that section, the evolution of Space Quest, where like I trace like a little bit of the history of the series, and I use like different images of Roger's sprite, his character sprite, as it evolves through the series. And because when I created the website, the only version of Space Quest 4 I had access to was the 16 color EGA version.
That's funny.
For all these many years, for 30 years, the sprite from Space Quest 4 is actually the 16 color version instead of the 256 color version on my website, Roger Wilco's Virtual Broom Closet. Celebrating 30 years online.
So I'm looking here, Space Quest 6, it is Roger Wilco in the Spinal Frontier.
Yes. And I have seen Space Quest 5 referred to as Roger Wilco and the Next Mutation. And maybe in the Next Mutation.
On Wikipedia, it is referred to as Space Quest 5, Roger Wilco, like M dash, the Next Mutation, which citation needed on that M dash.
I mean, like when I was working on my website, Roger Wilco's Virtual Broom.
All right, fine. What?
No, I mean, no, Ben, we don't have to talk about the broom closet.
No, fine. We'll talk about the Broomcloset. I played that fucking game 3 times. I played the Amiga version as well.
How was that?
Bad.
I mean, it's not the best Space Quest.
No.
It's not in the top 3 Space
No,
Quests.
well, no, I was saying the Amiga version.
Oh, I was just
Um,
saying Space Quest 4 or IV.
um, it, that's all right, let me take a look. All right, so I'm now
Or like
we're
Space
let's
Quest, I've played better games.
all right. We're going to talk about Roger Wilco's Virtual Broom Closet version 3.0, 30
Oh, man.
years. Where's the evolution of I want to see this because this is
Okay,
actually making me think of something. I have
that's
the
going to be
page
under
pulled up
articles and
right now.
humor.
Articles and humor. This is
That
great
is
radio.
going to be under next steps into the Space Quest universe.
Okay. I see it here.
This is one of the
Oh,
original
wow, and
launch
there it is.
features.
I love this. Oh, wow. I love this page. The
Oh, yeah?
evolution of Space Quest because this is straight up like this page you have not touched. Like
Not touched since,
it says
like,
1996 on the bottom. It says this
yeah,
page
there
is
you go.
maintained by Decaffeinated Jedi and is copyright
Yeah, so don't
1996.
steal this.
And what's also great about this page is that it has like the really identifiable like the back button, like return to this page, like
Yeah.
that blue grayscale. Oh, this page. All right. So also it refers to Space Quest 7, the unreleased product.
Mm-hmm.
Which is all right. Anyway, so Jess, let's talk about 30 years of the virtual broom closet. We're and I don't know if you know the answer to this. Do you know if you were the first Sierra fan site?
I
I mean, you certainly were
bel
around it.
I
Like
believe that I am. I mean, what I can tell you, like, this is when the Broom Closet launched in 1995. This is like at a point in history where, like,
at a point
you
you
still
put
had to submit a link to Yahoo
Mhm.
and get
I
it
remember.
approved to appear in the Yahoo search
Right.
directory.
Yeah.
And at the time that the Broom Closet was approved for listing in Yahoo, it was the only Sierra fan site on the internet
Wow.
in Yahoo, and the only one that I'd ever found. I there certainly wasn't any other one that I came across. So as far as I know, the Broom Closet was the first Sierra fan page. It may have been the first fan page for an adventure game, as far as I know. I think that a lot of the gaming sites at the time, I wouldn't go so far as to say it's the first video game website by a long shot, but a lot of what you did see were things like archives of Doom wads and websites more
With
like that.
wave files,
Yeah, and things of that sort. You know, I
midis.
think less maybe like a fan site and more of like a collection of resources to go with games like Doom and Wolfenstein and things like that. I think this is relatively early for a more fanish style fan site. And I do think it's the first Sierra fan site to go on the internet.
I am so the earliest on archive.org that the virtual broom closet it has a 1997. So
Ah,
it only like I don't know how much like the internet archive like if it even uh I mean it looks like it can go back like it does have before that like 96, but it doesn't look like they have oh, let me see. Yeah, nothing in 97, nothing in like the earliest it has is February 7th, 1998.
oh wow.
Yeah. And this website looks really cool, Jess.
Yeah. No, I mean, it's always been a beautiful website designed in all the best HTML 1.0.
all right. So it's 1995. It's November of 1995.
Yeah.
Uh so this is a story that I've heard I think you've talked about on your stream and maybe even a little bit on this podcast but you know, what's the story? How, like, what's the origin here? How'd we get here?
So in November of 1995, I was in my freshman year of college. And I think, like, for context here, I had never been online before I got to college. Like, literally, the first time I'd never been able to dial into a BBS. There were no local BBSs where I grew up. My parents weren't about to let me, spend long distance to dial into a BBS. I desperately wanted to be on the Sierra network, but that wasn't about to happen either.
Crazy expensive. Yeah.
Crazy expensive, especially again if you're dialing long distance for an access number.
Yeah.
So I'd never been on CompuServe or anything like that. So literally on my like college campus orientation tour, they took us to a computer lab and sat us down, and I used my login and fired up like Netscape or maybe Mosaic at the time,
Oh wow.
and accessed the web for the first time and just started searching around to see what was there. And I was just fascinated by this, just like being able to go to like, I think I went to like the Smithsonian's website, which was like a page with a gray background and a couple of pictures of like the Hope Diamond or something
Mm-hmm.
like that. And
Mm-hmm.
that was the extent of the web page at the time. But I loved this and I was fascinated by it. And I immediately just decided I have to make a web page. I need to have a page on the internet. And what I decided on pretty quickly was it's like I'd grown up loving Sierra adventure games, and Space Quest 6 was still a relatively new game. I actually hadn't beaten it yet when I got to college my freshman year. And I just thought it's like, I think there's some fun stuff that could be done with a website about Space Quest. So I went out to my local bookstore, B. Dalton, in my mall. I picked up a copy of HTML for Dummies and just started teaching myself the basics of HTML coding.
Mm-hmm.
And then just a few months later in November, I'd written all these walkthroughs. I'd started to write articles like that, Evolution of Space Quest, and some other things. Those are some of the like early launch material. I think that was dated 96, but I think I'd originally posted it when the site went live in 95. And just launched the site. And it was sort of like, I don't know if anybody's ever going to read this. I don't know if it's for anyone else. I kind of liked just this opportunity to teach myself a weird new skill
Mm-hmm.
with no sense of what might come from it.
It is interesting to me looking at the the articles and humor page, because this really makes me like, I like, because as somebody that also was on the internet in the like late 90s, like starting in the late 90s, we're very active. Like, I mean, we had Prodigy and the Seer network and
Mm-hmm.
stuff like that before, but I started making websites in 1999, and it's like on GeoCities, and like my
Yeah.
first website was on this service called 50 free megs.
Oh,
um
I remember that.
because I saw that and I was like, well, that's a lot
That's
of
a lot of
megs.
megs.
That's a shitload of megs. um and I made that's where I put my sliders fan site. I'm not kidding. And
Professor Arturo's virtual broom closet.
yes, it was called Professor Arturo's virtual broom closet. But I bring that up to specifically say that it's like, looking at like the articles and humor, this really kind of unlocks, like, it's like, this is what a lot of websites at the time were comprised of. Like, beyond, like, we were also talking about, it's like you would have like a lot of fan sites, from my recollection, would be, you'd go to a page and it would have like a bunch of like wave files, and then
Mm-hmm.
like a bunch of really grainy, like non-animated, like GIF images, like from the
Yes.
TV show. And
Uh-huh.
then, but then, like, beyond that, then it would just be like, well, I have to put stuff here. It's like, what am I going to put here?
Yeah.
And so, like, it was stuff like this where like I'm looking at the articles in Humor, and what I love about this is that you haven't really touched a lot of these. Like you haven't
Most
really
of these, yeah, are
modified
yeah,
some of these in almost 30 years also.
yeah,
And so it's like, I'm looking at here one of these called casting call.
yes. Again, an original launch feature of the website.
And yeah, and casting call, like it is just, it's like, welcome to casting call. This page brings you my casting choices for a hypothetical in bold Space
Bold.
Quest movie. Please note I say hypothetical. As of right now, was this was that there initially, or did somebody send you a weird email?
Someone sent me a weird email. That is a
Uh-huh.
clarification.
As
Yeah,
of right
absolutely.
now, there are no plans for a Space Quest motion picture. This
That's still true as of right now.
there's still a chance.
I stand by that. Um,
but yeah, so it's like you list off, and like you list off like who you would cast. I wouldn't go for Dwight Schultz for Roger Wilco. I mean, I
it's
get it, I
wrong.
see it,
It's
but
wrong.
but
Yeah, no, that
you know,
I said Jeff Daniels, which at that point in history could have been fun.
Jeff Daniels yeah, I think Jeff Daniels would be
Yeah.
pretty good.
I just saw a photo of Anthony Hopkins with his head shaved, so I picked him as Sludge Vohal.
Yeah, and it's just like,
Which
yeah,
is
he's bald.
yeah, that's right. Where else are you gonna find a bald guy in Hollywood? Yeah.
Yeah, it's like,
Do
and
I
you
go
already
get
have
John
William Shatner
Travolta?
here, so it's like, where are you gonna also get the other famous bald man in, in Hollywood? Are you gonna call Patrick Stewart too?
Yeah.
Um,
I mean, this one, like this feature again, I mean, this is like super early stuff. And I think
yeah,
like looking back at this myself, because I've been updating the site, as probably a lot of our listeners know, for its 30th anniversary, adding new content for the first time in decades, and really kind of getting back into the groove of writing a fan site, which has been fun. But this is one of those original launch things. I was thinking to myself, it's like, like in a world where there weren't a lot of these fan sites yet, like I was trying to think, like, why did I think a casting call was something to go on there? And I think for me, like, if I really think back, a lot of what I was doing with the Broom Closet early on was inspired by sort of my love of magazines. I think growing up,
yeah,
like I was an avid magazine guy. And like
yeah.
at the time, like the three magazines I think that shaped my life more than anything were probably I was a kid who'd had like a subscription to Entertainment Weekly since I was
Okay,
12 years old. I was an avid reader of Entertainment Weekly. Wizard, the Guide to Comics, which was a huge comic book magazine during the like speculator comic book boom of the 90s. This casting call is directly ripping them off. I mean, this is like 100% every issue. Before there was such a thing as superhero movies coming out every few months, every issue of Wizard would have a casting call section that would just be like, if we had to make a Green Arrow movie, this is who we put in Green Arrow, the movie. So this is stolen straight from them. And then interaction. I mean, I
hmm
was just obsessed with interaction and kind of just thinking it's like, well, I love these magazines and I love these sorts of little features that these magazines do. And a lot of this early Broom Closet content is me basically saying it's like, well, I need new content. After
yeah,
I've written walkthroughs, I can't just say the website's done. So it becomes like, how can I create, more stuff about Space Quest in addition to just the basic facts of it all? And that's sort of the genesis of things like Casting Call and
yeah.
Evolution of Roger Wilco. I mean,
Um,
that's like another Wizard magazine thing. It's like, a little feature where they're like, this is how Batman's costume has evolved since he debuted in 1938 or whatever.
I'm looking at like, so I'm looking at this version of the website from like from the archive.org from 1998, and there are a couple. One of them, like, there's Fester's Picks, which that hasn't survived.
What was
To
Fester's Picks?
Fester's Picks is a, like, it's written in Fester Blatz's voice.
Okay.
It's like, howdy, my name's Blatz, Fester Blatz, you may remember me. Um and then it's just kind of a, like, a list of, like, recommendations like media that someone that likes Space
Oh,
Quest might also
wow.
like. And so it recommends Station Fall and Planet Fall.
Uh-huh.
Recommends Mystery Science Theater and Red Dwarf,
Mm-hmm.
Spaceballs, Hitchhiker's Guide, and the works of Peter David, among other things. There's some other stuff too.
Interesting.
It's just funny. Like, I'm really kind of stuck on this, like looking at this, because it's like you have a little fun doing the voice here. How old were you? 19?
Yeah, probably 18, 19.
Yeah, yeah. Like,
Oh God, that page still exists on the website. It's just not linked from anywhere anymore.
oh, it's funny.
Oh wow,
Um,
there it is.
uh, yeah, I and now like uh yeah, like it's because I remember in addition, like, at the time, I knew about virtual broom closet, and then there was like I guess later it must have been later on, I would probably say like 97, 98. There was like this King's Quest website that I would check from time
Oh
to time. I
yeah.
think it was like called like the like I don't remember. My main recollection of that website was that it was red. Was
Checks
like
out.
which I think like the background was like this was bright red. Like every page was bright, like it was bright red, and I think the text might have been yellow or green. But another cool thing here on this 1998 version is that this has a patch for Doom that adds the sequel police.
Yes, I believe that still exists in the current iteration
Oh,
of the Broom
good. Oh,
Closet.
good, good,
Yeah,
good.
don't worry, that's still there. Everybody who hears that and wants to download it, as well as skins for The Sims for Roger B. and Stellar.
Oh, we didn't have that in '98, I don't think.
No, no, not yet. Will Wright and I hadn't collabed on that yet.
But like, so okay, so you sit down. Did you have like so you're like, all right, well, I'll get working on the walkthroughs. Um, did you have the like the Space Quest like collection on hand, or like did you already have all six of them? Like you said you just bought six.
I believe at this point, I did have the original 15th anniversary collection, like the one in like the handsome, classy blue box, like the bluish gray box. I
Yeah.
had that one, and which sort of replaced all of my original discs for the Space Quest series. And then, of course, Space Quest 6 wasn't in that collection yet, so I had that
Oh, right.
as a
Yes, yes, yes,
standalone.
yes. Oh, I know
Yeah,
that classy one. It has that very heroic looking Roger Wilco
yeah.
on the box.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's my favorite, like one of my favorite Sierra boxes. I
Yeah,
really
yeah.
love that one. It's got that very classy logo. The King's Quest version of that as well is quite good. It has a great King Graham logo on like a maroon box. But those 15th anniversary collections look real nice. But yeah, I had one of those, and then I mean, part of the reason this thing takes until November to launch is I didn't want to launch it without a Space Quest 6 walkthrough on the page, because I figured that's probably, if anybody's going to find this thing, they'll be
Mhm.
looking for hints for Space Quest 6, which was a very new game at the time. So a lot of what delayed it was I had to figure out how to beat Space Quest 6, which there weren't walkthroughs for on the internet yet. So I could then write my own walkthrough for it and upload it to the internet. So it was like, I have to first solve Space Quest 6 with no help, and then I can write a walkthrough, and then I can launch my website. So a lot of this is
Um,
like I was like cramming Space Quest 6.
and I'm noticing you've cleaned up. I'm having a lot of fun here comparing the versions of the website. You did a like a grammar pass. Like you cleaned up the like you rewrote. I'm looking at the Space Quest 6 walkthrough that is on the 1998 one. And
Uh-huh.
I'll note here, it says at the bottom, I wonder, does this reveal any thoughts of the author? Which is not on the copy that you'd find. By the way, if you go to the 30th anniversary
This is
website,
like
it doesn't say
gotcha
this. I'm gotchaing
gotcha
you.
journalism.
It says at the very bottom, it says all caps. Now the game is all caps again. finally over. 3 exclamation points.
No tea, no shade. Yeah, no pink lemonade. Yeah, I guess that feels about right. That was probably how I was
You're
feeling at the
probably like,
time
"Ugh."
because I'd been like, I did not get through Space Quest 6 easily. And I was playing it the wrong way. I think probably it colors a little bit of my perception of Space Quest 6 to this day. The fact that I was just like, I've
So
got to finish this thing so I can finish my website.
you were literally playing it specifically, like, this was the stopper. I wanna also and maybe this was in reference to the UHS files. Like it says here on it, it says walkthroughs are available for the entire Space Quest series. Some are self-compiled, and others have been culled from other sites. So
Oh, interesting.
yeah,
I don't remember that. That doesn't sound like something I would do.
um, maybe there's uh, a credit here, but that's what it
Yeah.
says.
Well, I would
Here,
stand
look,
by that,
look,
I suppose.
I'm sending you the link.
Oh no.
Um,
You know, I it's funny, right now I'm actually writing a walkthrough for the first time in like 30 years for Space Quest Vohal Strikes Back as I'm
oh
playing
really?
through it. After I finish my streams, I'm like adding a section to my walkthrough. And now that I've finished that game on stream, I'm going to have like my first new walkthrough in decades. Oh, this is interesting. Yeah, I wonder if I wanted to think I probably updated most of these since then, but yeah, this is fun. Yeah, I don't remember this at
The
all.
I'll note that looking at the ones from this iteration of the page, the Space Quests 1 through 5 walkthroughs are like they're like better organized and like kind of cleaned up and sectioned off. And the Space Quest 6 one is a little more kind of messy, and it also has like little asides.
More editorializing in the course of the
It
walkthrough.
has a little editorializing, which I have to
What's weird, you know, I'm like writing this walkthrough now, and I'm realizing it's like I never used walkthroughs because I didn't have access to them as a kid while I was playing this. So when
right.
wrote a walkthrough for the Broomcloset originally, they're kind of narrative in the way that I wrote them, which is interesting. Like I'm kind of trying to like tell the story of the game while giving you the walkthrough for it. Now that I'm writing this new one for Vohal Strikes Back, the 2011 fan game, what I'm finding is that here in the year 2025, Jess wants an efficient, straightforward, easy to read, like bullet point
You have
style
to keep to the
walkthrough.
voice. You have to keep to
I
the
know,
voice.
I know, but I'm just like, God, it would be such a pain in the ass to try to use one of these walkthroughs to get through a game. But yeah, it makes me think. It's like as I'm looking back at some of these, maybe I do need to go back and write it in more of this
I
style. Maybe
I
this is more
love
fun.
this Space Quest 6 walkthrough from this archived version of your page. I just sent you the link. Because it does have like those little asides. There's like it I'm reading here. Get the screwdriver off the ground and the plank off the I-beams. Go inside the building. Parentheses. Ah, Windows even haunts you in computer games.
Oh wow. Now, this is fascinating. Yeah, I don't. This version definitely feels like it was
This is the
written
first draft. This
as I go.
feels
Like I'm literally like taking notes of. I probably have like Notepad open or something and writing this because yeah, this like I'm comparing it with the version that's there now, and it could not be more different. Like the version that's there now is pretty polished
yeah,
compared to
it's
this.
very nice and clean.
Yeah. No,
And
this very much feels like stream of consciousness walkthrough writing.
this, I mean,
Like it's even got bad like grammar and like there aren't complete sentences.
mhm.
Like just everything's all over the place. This is me. I've got to churn this thing out and launch my stupid
Yeah,
website.
it's like, God damn it, I need to finish this shit. Like,
Yeah, absolutely.
um, oh, hold on. it says at the bottom, special thanks to the Gamer's Hole on this walkthrough.
Oh, so maybe I
Maybe you
borrowed
didn't.
from
Maybe
maybe
you
I
borrowed
misread.
it. Maybe
Oh,
this isn't
man.
a Jess. I don't know. Did
Maybe
you
is my whole memory of this flawed at this
is
point?
this like Roberta Williams on a funny day?
This could be. I mean, clearly, my memory of the broom closet, I'm an unreliable narrator of my own story. The way I remember this 30 years later is it was Space Quest 6 that held me up. But maybe it was just, maybe I gave up and just used this. What if that's what happened? Maybe that's how I finally launched it. What if I gave up on beating Space
You
Quest
reached
6 and
out
just,
to the Gamer's Hole.
yeah, I was
So,
just dipping
here's
into
your
the gamer's
walkthrough.
hole. Yeah. Yeah, no. So yeah, I guess that would explain why it's not as good as the current walkthrough. So
I
who
mean,
knows?
it has a
All this could be
very,
a lie.
very different. It is very, very different. Okay.
I'll tell you, I would never put a period before a parenthetical in a sentence. And there's a lot of that in this original Gamer's Whole version. So yeah, I bet that I was trying to get this ready and eventually just gave up and said, I'm going to have to publish someone else's walkthrough until I can write my own, which was apparently years later.
Now, so okay. So you're running this fan website, and you either wrote or made a
Stole.
deal to get. Well, you
Yeah.
credited your friends at the Gamers Hole.
Yes.
Uh, I you know
You have to play the
I
gamer's toll to get into the gamers. Yeah.
I jokingly said to you when we were chatting earlier, I was like, "There's going to be a lot of gotcha journalism
Now
when
it
we,"
turned out there was.
but I have been. I just gotcha. Now,
That's a classic Ben. Gotcha.
so you have this website, you have the walkthroughs, then you start to populate it with kind of like cute little features. I'm
Mm-hmm.
looking here. I don't know if this is there's the Monolith Burger website. Is this on the let me take a look.
It's
I don't
still there. It's
That's
still
still
around
there. Oh,
today.
great.
Basically unchanged.
Like all these little, tiny little things. Super like, ugh, this really takes me back. But when when do you get in touch? Like, when do you hear from somebody from Sierra? Either friendly or unfriendly, because I know you had both.
Yeah, it happens early on, like surprisingly early on. Like I launched this website in November, toward the end of November, and somehow a month later, I had gotten an email from Josh Mandel, friend of the pod,
Yeah.
Josh Mandel, which is amazing. The idea that it's like, I knew who Josh Mandel was. I loved Josh Mandel's games. I read and reread his articles and interaction and thought he was just the funniest person alive. And I'm home for the holidays back
Mm-hmm.
at my parents' house and have no access to email at home because we don't have the internet yet at home. So I'm doing what any normal person would do, which is I'm calling a friend of mine on the phone, asking him to log into my account and
Mhm.
read my email to me because I'm curious if I've gotten any interesting Space Quest emails.
this,
So
this sounds like somebody explaining like a party line.
it really is. Yeah, I mean, it's like that's how you checked your email when you were home for Christmas in 1995. So I like my friend's reading through these, said, okay, you got an email here from Josh Mandel. I'm like, wait, what's that? And he's like, opens it up, and it's Josh just basically saying, it's like, hey, I found your site and I really liked it. And he shared a few like little insider bits about Space Quest 6 that I didn't know. Because at the time, like the development of these games was a complete mystery to
Right.
anyone beyond what we were told in interaction, which it turns out had a slight pro Sierra bias.
That's interesting.
Um, but,
That's been my primary source for CRFX for all this time.
well, I'm sorry to tell you, Ben, but you'll notice very seldom do they criticize a Sierra product in that magazine.
I'm sure they criticized Hunter Hunted or something, right?
They didn't even diss the first version of
I
Outpost.
was just yeah.
They just talked about how great the patch was. But yeah, so and this kind of blew my mind at the time. And I ended up, of course, doing what any like 18-year-old kid would do in this situation, which is just bombarding Josh Mandel with emails, like begging him to tell me anything about Space Quest 6 and about working at Sierra and everything. And then in like the months that would follow over the next year or two, first Scott would reach out, and then later Mark eventually got in touch with me. Scott Murphy and Mark Crow, the two guys from Andromeda, reaching out to say, "Hey, we really like your website. Thanks for doing this. Thanks for loving these games that we made." And I was really in heaven. I mean, I can't. This will be shocking to anyone who knows me today, but boy, I was a real Sierra nerd. Then I've outgrown that. I'm a much cooler guy now. But the idea of getting to send emails back and forth to these people whose work I love so much was just, it didn't seem real. And then the fact that they were willing to do interviews. I mean, Josh even wrote a couple of little features for the website. And just, I love them, so generous with their time, so willing to, put up with my nerdy ass. Just fantastic.
Yeah. Was Josh the very was so wait, was Josh the first person
Josh was the very first, and
that
then
you interviewed?
that's a good question. I think Josh was the first interview that I had along the way. I'm pretty sure that he was the earliest, and then I think from there it was Scott, maybe Leslie Balfour, and Mark has always been a little shyer. I didn't get a chance to interview him until 2001, A Jess
Uh,
Odyssey.
yeah, I'm looking at this interview of Josh, September of 2000.
Okay, so that was a little bit further down the road. Yeah, he had reached out very early on, but it would be a little bit later before. So actually, I guess probably the Scott Murphy interview might predated that. So maybe I'm just wrong. It's more your gotcha journalism.
Yeah, listen, I like, it came to me.
Yeah, no,
Uh,
this is tough. I'm actually looking back and I'm remembering because I mean I've been looking at this website a lot lately, but now I'm like kind of following through with you, and I'm looking at this interview with Scott Murphy from 2001 called "Catching Up with Scott Murphy,"
mhm.
and I remember this was a tough one. Yeah, this is 2001, so Scott had been fired along with basically everybody else at Oakhurst 2 years earlier. And I think
Mhm.
that he was still pretty bitter about the way everything went down with Space Quest 7 and Sierra and stuff in general. And I remember we conducted this interview by email. I sent him questions and he sent me back answers. And it's really kind of like, I think back on this and I feel kind of bad at this. And Scott's like, I don't think my interview is funny. I was like, it's great. It's funny. It's good. It tells us stuff about the series we didn't know. It's like, it's great. I don't think it's funny. Do something to punch it up and make it funnier.
Oh, so it has
And
these
I,
fun facts.
I added these fun facts into the margin, which are just like weird little fake bits of trivia. Like, Scott Murphy earned a spot as starting center for the Los Angeles Lakers in 1985 before blowing out his knee in a preseason practice and other bits like that. And I remember thinking, it's like, oh man, I hate that Scott doesn't feel like this was a good interview because I thought it was wonderful. I thought it was like terrific stuff. And him asking me to punch it up, I was like, no, Scott, you don't want this. And this is what came out of it, like just some really
I
hacky
was
stuff.
wondering about the fun facts on this. I was like,
Yeah.
what are these doing here?
Yeah, no, that was like me trying to to give some jokes in here that he felt were necessary. So yeah, that's what I came up with. But no, I mean the fact that the creators of this series were willing to talk to me, I mean, and the fact that most of them are still talking to me today is kind of mind blowing.
Yeah, no,
They're
it's
talking to me right now. I have them in my headset.
wow. What are they saying?
They told me not to speak to you about it.
Okay, that's fair. Now, so this I'm really like, and then when did you open up the forum?
You know, I don't know the exact date on that. I'm going to say probably the forum comes along around 97, 98, if I had to take a guess. So it launches a few years after. Like I'd had a guest book, like every website
Of course.
before this.
Let me see if this is captured um by archive or not.
Mhm.
It doesn't
I know
appear
it
that
was
it is.
definitely up and running by 2000 in a primitive like web board forum where it was
Oh,
just
for
like a
sure.
single page with some threaded message replies and stuff, and then turned into like a full forum with like categories and subfolders and stuff like that later. So I think 99 2000 is probably the answer now that I think about it.
And so the subspace channel I'm looking here now. I'm looking at December 15th, 1998. November 1st, 98, with the Broomcloset less than 1 month from its third birthday, the Subspace channel message form is back with all kinds of new bells and whistles.
That
So I'm
sounds like something I
assuming,
would write.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Now, uh, when did like and I posted on it briefly. Was ooh, and you have your ICQ number on this.
How else would you contact me? That's still good. You can reach out right now in ICQ.
Oh,
Uh
um, when did how did that develop? When did because you're still friends, you were just talking about trolls,
Yeah,
who you met, like the Space
yeah.
Quest historian.
Yeah.
Like he was a
Well,
very
Gareth,
active
our
poster
letter
there.
writer, is someone I met on the Subspace
Whoa,
channel. Yeah.
whoa. And then
Yeah.
behind this door is WilcoWeb.
No, Kevin, what are you
Yeah.
doing here?
um, like when did it go from it's like, hey, I made this thing and I had like this guest book and people were writing
Mhm.
on this. When did you notice that it became a community?
That's a good question. I think that like there was a sense of that, I think, growing just in terms of like as this sort of web ring of Space Quest websites emerged. Because there was like a point early on in this history where there were probably like 25 active Space Quest sites on the internet somehow that were all posting updates and creating content and stuff like that, which is crazy to think about nowadays. But I think there's a little bit of a community there. There were a lot of emails that went around, and like we were all trying to help each other out and contribute to each other's websites and hype it up when one of us did something cool. So there's really a sense of like, how can we just grow this into a big thing? And then I think once web forums became a thing, initially the Subspace channel, I believe, was hosted offsite at a different website. And then eventually, when I figured out how to like install my own CGI based web forum, I moved it to my host and started my own. But yeah, a little bit of that community was there even before the Subspace channel, but it definitely began to grow. What we started to realize, I mean, we had people that were definitely regulars there. I think for a lot of us, myself included, it was the main place that we sort of socialized on the internet. And I mean, it was a very active forum. I mean, it had, I think
It
at
was
its peak,
extremely active. I
yeah,
remember.
at its peak, I think it had like 1,000 or so registered members.
That's crazy.
And, certainly not all of those were daily posters, but it's the sort of forum where, you might get 20 topics posted a day across various categories. And it also had a hints and tips section that people could come in and ask for hints and get feedback. And that was very active. A lot of people who couldn't solve something in the walkthroughs or needed a smaller hint or had tech support problems. So you had a lot of people coming practically, but also just we had sort of a general discussion forum that, we talked about movies and television, music and stuff like that we liked. And I think that's where a lot of that community grew out of. Grew out was just a bunch of kind of nerds with this similar interest getting to know each other. It was certainly the first online community that I was part of. I posted on a few other forums. I was a big trekbbs.com
Oh,
guy.
Trek BBS.
Yeah, I was all over
That's
that.
a that's a internet classic.
Yes, yes, yes. I'd be curious to know if my account still exists there or if Trek BBS still exists. But
Trek
really,
BBS feels like Mount Rushmore. you know? Like it
Yeah, absolutely.
well, all right, there's an easy way to find out if Trek BBS still exists, and of course it still does. It still
Let's see if it
does.
still looks exactly the
It
same.
doesn't look exactly the same.
Ah, bummer.
But,
Ah,
like,
bummer.
there like, I'm looking here and I'm seeing, like, posts as recent as, like, 13 minutes ago.
Yes.
Like, Trek and I'm willing to bet I'm I would put down that there's if you spent a little bit of time, Jess, going through Trek BBS, right now, you would probably find like you would like it would mostly be like, oh, I don't know who this person talking about Voyager is. Oh, I don't know who this is. I don't know who
I'm
this
going to
is.
tell you
And then you
the
go,
person,
I know
yeah,
exactly who this is. Oh my
the
God.
person who made the most recent post in General Trek discussion 18 minutes ago, I
Y-
know that person.
yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, no, it's very, yeah. First time I've probably been there in like 15 years. And literally the first post in the main forum is by a person I know.
Yeah. Do you speak
Yeah,
future? Now,
yeah, that's the post.
yeah,
I believe that is author Christopher Bennett, who has written a few Star Trek novels through the years after getting his start.
he joined looking at his account, he joined in March 15th of 2001.
That's perfect.
Like,
Yeah, no, this
so
sounds right.
he
Yeah, this
has a
is
24-year-old active
mhm.
Trek BBS account.
And because this BBS system is incredibly revealing of people's business, I can tell you that Christopher, at the time of recording, is currently viewing the thread titled the General Knight Rider thread, which I'm guessing is a thread at this BBS to talk about the TV series Knight Rider.
Um, but yeah, I
Shout
mean,
out, Christopher. I hope you enjoy Knight Rider.
I the general Knight Rider uh oh, it's their I guess they're making a Knight Rider movie.
Oh,
Uh
wow.
and
Wow.
in any case, so how long did the Subspace Channel run? How long did was that there?
You know, it stuck around, I believe, until probably about the time that I stopped update. Like, I kind of stopped updating the website circa 2000. I finally stopped like 2004, but I'd mostly stopped by 2000 on the initial run. 2004, 2005 is probably like the last updates to it, maybe even earlier than that. But the Subspace channel survived that whole time and then a little bit longer. But once like the website wasn't being updated, once interest in Space Quest started to decline, once there were other meeting places on the internet, including the spacequest.net forum, uh, it kind of fell into disrepair. It wasn't being moderated. It started getting hit by spam. And then eventually, whatever software it was running, like PHPBB or whatever the bulletin board was, eventually some sort of update to the web server broke it and it just sort of ceased to exist at that point. So it really fell into disrepair and eventually just died along the way, which is a shame. I hate that, it's something that looking back, I hesitate to call myself like the steward of that community, but I kind of got bummed out about Space Quest and sort of moved on and kind of left it there unattended.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, that is like because also so what year is that by? That's like
I'm thinking like I know that I was still updating the site like when I got married in 2003 because I uploaded
yeah,
like photos of myself at Sierra headquarters.
right.
And I think there were updates maybe through 2004 or so. And
Okay.
then I bet the Broom Closet probably quit working by 2000. Or sorry, the Subspace channel quit working by 2005 or 2006.
And at that point their start like 2005 and 2006 you're starting to see like mega forums and stuff like
Yes.
that like kind of pop up and uh like so and like when does like dig and fart.
Yeah, I mean, like we're hitting into
Like,
like the
because, like,
dig and
something
fart
awful has
era.
already been going on for a
Yeah,
bit at that point. That starts in 99, 2000. And that was, like, but then Dig, which was like, like, which was enormous for a time. And some of those other ones, like, I just remember, like, because I, like, just speaking for myself, I wonder, like, there has to be a discipline of, like, is somebody doing internet archaeology beyond, like in an academic way, like not in
there must
a,
be.
like,
I
I
I
find
don't
this
know who it
interesting.
is. Yeah, I don't. There must be. I mean, it's not like research I'm familiar with, but
Yeah,
there are too many people like probably of, especially I think your generation. If you go just a few years earlier,
right.
who I think have to be so steeped in internet culture and their brains so rotted by it that they're bound to be academics who are doing some serious research on this sort of digital archaeology. It has to be out there.
I'm fascinated by it because it's like, you know, when when the communities that I was in my sliders
Hmm.
forums and stuff like that, Farscape forums, things like that.
Hmm. Professor Arturo's Subspace Channel.
Yeah, yeah. Dargo's subspace channel. Like, when we were in them, and let me know if if you felt the same way. It just kind of felt like those would just be there forever.
Yeah.
And, like, even if, like, people stopped posting there, which I knew
Hmm.
would happen, at least on some level, because I remember, like, being there for, like, forums that did kind of die out. But, like, it always just felt like that would all be there, and we would all, like, we would all kind of always, like, that would all always be there. And now, that's all gone. Like, I mean, not
Yeah.
entirely. Like, Trek BBS is still there, and there's,
Hmm.
a lot of stuff preserved by archive.org and all of that. But it not only is it um like, do a lot of those websites no longer exist, or, like, have kind of imperfect archiving on archive.org, like, it didn't
Yeah.
collect all of one
Yeah,
thing
it's
or the
hard to
other.
archive those like
Yeah.
CGI and PHP driven
Yeah.
platforms. So you might get like the main page, but none of the actual links to the messages work, or it's incomplete in the way it does. Yeah.
But, like, it was also like, it is uh an entire way of interfacing with the internet just doesn't exist anymore. And, like,
Right.
it does, like, yes, there are still people making websites, and there
Hmm.
are still, like, kind of, like, there's that I for there's Neo Cities
Yeah.
and
And
stuff
I'm
like
sure
that.
there are modern softwares to run a bulletin board, just like what I used back in the early 2000s. I mean, I even thought about this briefly when I was sort of like dusting off the broom closet, was like, do I just want to set up a new message forum? Like, what if I just had like a new subspace channel? But then it's like, I don't know. Those sorts of communities barely exist anymore. Do I want to babysit that community and,
You already have a
try to
Discord. You
and I
can
already have a
find a link to
Discord.
it.
Yeah, I mean, at
Yeah.
some level, and I mean, Discord's not the same.
No, it's not.
Discord is like it's hard to pin down, other than just sort of the more conversational style of it. Whereas a good forum post may be several paragraphs long if you're doing it
Y-
properly. I believe.
You you want to know something that has really been lost?
What?
Is that it was all so much more cringe.
Oh
And
God, it
I'm not
was.
and I want to be clear here. I'm not even joking. Like, a lot of the early internet was so much more earnest and embarrassing.
Hmm. Yeah, I mean, my tone and I'm constantly calling myself like you know the custodian of the broom closet and taking on like this character. And I'm like, I think back and, I'm calling everyone who visits the site and uses the subspace channel space cadets, like, like Howdy Doody has his peanut gallery
Mhm.
or something like that. And, um, I remember in the forums, I signed off every message like best wishes, exclamation point, Jess. And to a point that like that became like a gimmick that people joked about and everything. It's just like, I didn't care. Like I kind of had this like goofy over the top, like, I don't know, like what I imagined almost be like, my job is to be like the Stan Lee of this community. Like nobody loves Marvel comics more than me. And I'm here to like make my excitement infectious for all of you people was
if
kind of what I was going
you
for.
posted like that on, Blue Sky or Threads or, anything like that, people would justifiably be like, those are some of the most obnoxious affectations I've ever seen in the world.
Yeah.
And
like if I'm posting like big news, Space Cadets, I'm streaming Space Quest 2 tonight. Be sure to hop in your rocket and speed on over to Twitch. Like people would be muting me left and right.
Yeah.
Like that is, but that's, there's something fun about that. And I mean, I really was trying to just like cultivate. I think part of it was I was just like, that's a fun way to talk. Like I'm someone who's there to hype this bunch of games that I like.
Yeah.
But also I think I sort of saw it's like, I didn't ever imagine becoming like a figure in this community, but it's also like, well, now I kind of, I have a role to play in it of kind of being like the spokesperson for, this fan community that I built around these games.
When you started talking earlier, when we were chatting, like before the re-release of the website, or not re-release, but like the update of the website, you said a thing that you were doing was you were trying to emulate that voice again. Like you wrote this new letter, like the 2025 letter from the custodian. What was it like for you to revisit that voice? How did it feel?
Man.
What
I don't think
did
I
you
quite got
like
there.
it? Did you dislike it? Like what was it?
I don't think I quite got there, first of all. Like I think that 2025 letter from the custodian that's sort of a retrospective of the 30 years that I posted. I don't think I quite got back to that fanish tone, but I tried to emulate it. It's weird because most of my writing now is academic writing, which is a very different sort of thing.
You should bring that to your academic writing.
I should. I
should.
I should.
Space Cadets. Today I'm going to talk about the dissolution of the Soviet Union.
That's right. No, why not? The the Berlin Wall fell like a force field, separating Roger from. No. I will say, like, that 30th anniversary letter, which is very self-indulgent and it's very like waxing nostalgic and everything else. It's a little cringe, I think, in the way I want it to be cringe. Like this is a letter as much for me as it was anyone who might actually read it. But I have to say, trying to get back into that mode of thinking about Space Quest and writing about it again, sort of like in Stan Lee Excelsior mode, was really nostalgic. Like I got, this is going to sound corny, readers, quest podcast at gmail.com if you want to make fun of me for this. But I got a little weepy writing it because the whole time I'm just thinking it's like, oh my God, I'm like back in my dorm room in 1995 and I'm with my roommates Seth and Corey that I don't see anymore. I haven't seen Seth in 25 years. I still chat with Corey, but we haven't like hung out face to face in forever. And I still have all these relationships of people who some they're still in my life and others that I've been removed from for years now. And it just very much put me back in that space in like a way that was weirdly touching to me because I mean, as silly as it is to say, a lot of important relationships in my life at one level or another, sort of spun out of this website. People who are still an important part of my life today are people that I sort of met in this first online community I was part of. So, yeah, it was it was fun to try to get back into that mode, and it was nostalgic in sort of a good way. It was like it was a good little weepy moment as I'm sitting there writing this thing and sort of thinking back on what this was like. So yeah, it's been a fun exercise. Like I think, I mean, I've loved the Space Quest series. There's a reason why it was the game I chose to focus on when I made this website. But I think forcing myself to think and write about Space Quest again more than I have in decades has kind of reignited a lot of my passion for the games too. So that part's been really fun. I think that thinking about this stuff has helped me get back a little bit of that excitement I had when I was 18, when I thought these games were just like the coolest thing I'd ever seen. So yeah, it was fun trying to figure out how to do this again. And then trying to figure out, it's like, well, if I were making this website in 2025, in a world where, like, you know, you can have video, and a world where you can, like, easily get a hold of scanned documents, and you
you've
can
added
get
a
high
lot of video.
resolution. Yeah, you get high resolution images and transparent PNGs and stuff like that. Like, what could I do differently? And that's been fun, like, thinking, it's like, well, if I pick up the Broomcloset where it left off, 25 years ago, now it's 30th anniversary, what does new content look like? And I've had a lot of fun kind of jumping that forward. It's like, it's like fan games are such a part of this community now. I need to figure out how to incorporate fan games more meaningfully into this website. So I created a new section for that. Publications, like just every review and article about Space Quest I could find, it's like, slap them up on the website. Once upon a time, that would have been compatible with dial-up bandwidths and other things like that. It's like, sure, yeah, why not have a review of Space Quest 6 from like the Kalamazoo Gazette or whatever. So yeah, that's been really fun. I was trying to think, it's like, well, if I had all of this sort of modern internet at my disposal 25, 30 years ago, what sort of content would I've created then? Trying to just sort of pick up where old me left off.
Yeah. Oh man. Gonna say this discussion of the old past internet has made me feel quite nostalgic and a little sad for
Yeah.
what's past.
It really, I mean, as I've not tweeted, I've skeeted about this in recent weeks, and as people have like drifted in to see that, this site's still there. Like, I've seen so much, it's like people just commenting, maybe people that never saw the site before. It's like, oh, I missed this internet, or God, HTML 1.0 is just amazing. I wish the internet still looked like this. And just comments like that. And I think there is a lot of nostalgia, and it's something that I've been really lucky. I mean, part of the story of the Broomcloset is it's been hosted on this server, wiw.org, for pretty much its entire existence, which is just a server owned by a friend of mine, Chris. Just like a server he's kept running for 30 years now. And the fact that it's been able to be online continuously, and that all this content that I wrote when I was 18 is preserved, means that it's sort of been able to stick around when GeoCities closed, and when most people eventually quit paying for the web space that hosted websites from this era. So I kind of love that it still has that old vibe. And it's good to know, even people who don't have any nostalgia for Space Quest or this site necessarily, that kind of like me, and it sounds like kind of like you, this is an era of the internet that we kind of miss, because it just doesn't exist anymore. It's like, now if you want to find out about Space Quest, you go to Wikipedia, you go to maybe the Space Quest Omnipedia, which is their Wikia site. You go ChatGPT and you say, ChatGPT, what's Space Quest? And it tells you a very accurate summary of it, because it's a great website. It's got it all.
Yeah.
Why would you use Google anymore?
Yeah.
And even if you do, Google's got AI to tell you what it is too.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah, but I do like, I'm the same way. I wish there was more of this. A site that still is around, that while it's in a more modern form, I think captures a lot of this same vibe, that comes along just a year or two after the Broomcloset. If you've ever been to the Monkey Island Scum Bar,
that sounds familiar.
yeah, the Monkey Island Scum Bar has been around. I bet it's 29 or 30 or 29 or 28 years at this point. It launched not long after the Broomcloset, so it's coming up on a big anniversary too. It's more modern looking now. It's like, yeah,
yes.
but it is very much cut from the same cloth. And certainly if you saw it back in the 90s and early 2000s, it looked and felt more like the same kind of fan site that that the Room Closet is.
I probably am thinking of Mix and Mojo.
And I believe this is part of the Mix and Mojo network.
Because
now.
I remember checking Mix and Mojo like every day.
Oh yeah, yeah, you gotta go there for your LucasArts news. But this site, unlike mine, has been pretty much consistently updated through that whole period. I recharged for 20 plus years just so I could come back.
It's a subsidiary of the International House of Mojo.
Yeah. But it's a fantastic site. I mean, it's and one that I think captures a lot of that same spirit, and one that I've always enjoyed. So I mean, there are sites like that out there still, but there aren't a lot. Fan sites just have been goggled up by fandom.com and or just simply cease to exist. Which is a shame.
Yeah.
Everybody should make a fan site. Our friend Mike would say everyone should have a website.
That's true.
And you know what? They're right.
Yeah. I'm just still stuck on you decide that you're going to make this website, and then you're like, all right, well, walkthroughs, of course. And then, well, I got to have other stuff. So I'm going to write, Fester Blatz's recommends Spaceballs in Plant.
Yes.
That just feels so correct to me. That is that just feels it's like, well, I have to. It's the mid to late 90s, and I'm a college student. I have access to the internet. Of course I'm going to make a website.
Yeah. No, I mean,
what's going to go on it? I'll figure it out.
I'll just make it up as I go. Yeah, I mean, and that's definitely the vibe. It was just sort of like throw stuff against the wall and see what sticks as part of that. And a lot of it is pretty cringe nowadays. Like I read things that I wrote that's like, oh, I don't know if I would have written it quite like that now. But I kind of like that too. I like that there are cringy bits of the website that are a little embarrassing in hindsight. And I mean, it's funny to think about. Yeah, just trying to figure out what content is. Like I remember someone brought this up the other day. They pulled up Internet Archive version, I think, of the website, and they're like, what's going on here? The website is called B Wankmaster's Virtual Broomcloset, and there's a logo with B Wankmaster at the top, Roger's girlfriend and destined wife. Instead of Roger, it's like, what was going on? Why was this website called B Wankmaster's Virtual Broomcloset for a few months?
Right.
And the answer was, I have to keep doing content. I have to have new things. So I created this whole meta storyline where it's like, Roger has been kidnapped by Sludge Vohal. And
I think I remember this too. What
and
year was this?
It probably would have been like 97, 98.
Probably not then.
Yeah. But the idea was, it's like, I just told the story. It's like, Roger's been captured by Sludge Vohal, and B has taken over the site until he can be rescued. So for a few months, just like everything on the site was written in like a different voice to the best of my ability. I changed the color scheme, the graphics, everything. And then a few months later, I brought back Roger, and it's like, Roger's been rescued. B saved him from Sludge Vohal, and everything's back to normal. It's just like, that is, looking back, like, what a weird thing to do. I'm trying, but I think it's just driven by this idea. It's like, once you got walkthroughs, you got to start getting a little creative about how you make this website, interesting. And that was my answer. There weren't really rules on how to do that. So I was like, yeah, I'll just do like a little meta level storyline about the website.
Yeah. Yeah.
Why not? Why not?
Yeah.
It's weird.
Had
It
to
was
do it.
fun. It was a chance for a nerdy kid who desperately wanted an audience for anything he had to say or write or do. Like just trying to cultivate that audience by doing whatever he could to entertain a bunch of nerds just like him.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. Like, yeah. You know, I'm sorry because now I'm just looking at these Monkey Island websites.
No, it's a really good Monkey Island website, isn't it? Like I'm telling you, it is. It's a fantastic site. It was always one of those sites that I thought it's like, okay, I kind of wish like if I could start the Broom Closet over fresh, I might steal some of their approach because it's really streamlined in some ways that the Broom Closet grows. Like I just keep bolting shit onto it.
Yeah,
The
well,
longer it lasts.
looking at some of these pages, like it will swap back into the old
Yes.
version. Like there's pages that are in the 1.0 framework. There are pages that are in
Yeah.
2.0. Like it's also, and I loved this little joke. It just says at the bottom, still optimized for 800 by 600. Great, great
Yeah.
joke. And it is.
Yeah, no, that's not. It's technically not a joke.
But all right, we're just about wrapped up, and this ends. By the way,
Forever.
this ends Space Quest month.
That's right. Next month we start Leisure Suit Larry month. We're going to begin with Leisure Suit Larry in the Land of the Lounge Lizards. Work our way through Leisure Suit Larry looking for love in all the wrong places, several wrong places actually. Then we'll move on to Leisure Suit Larry 3. Ben, there's no Leisure Suit Larry 4.
Oh, that's yeah. I'm gonna find it.
No, I think you'll be surprised.
But yeah, we're gonna take a break from Space Quest for a bit, and we haven't talked about. Let me take a look. I don't. We've been talking about Space Quest for so long. I don't even remember what our list of like potential. Oh man, yeah, okay. Yeah, there's a couple good ideas in there for our future ones. Anyway,
all right, you heard it here first. There are 2 more episodes left of Quest. We have 2 ideas.
There are 2 ideas in our little document, so we're gonna have to start working on that.
And you know what? Neither one of them are Space Quest 4. Sorry, Space Quest 4. You'll have to be covered in the 35th anniversary of the virtual Broom Closet.
All right, but thank you so much for listening to Quest, and I really enjoyed this conversation today.
Oh, thank you, Benny. I mean, I feel self-indulgent allowing myself to be interviewed on my own podcast at some level, but it's fun to get to talk. Like, again, I've thought more about the Broom Closet and Space Quest in the past month or so than I have in 25 years. And that's been really fun. It's great to look back at it.
If you have any memories or anything else you'd like to say,
old grudges.
Yeah, old.
Sludge grudges,
I
as I like to call them.
Want to hear those, Jess?
I'd love to hear from all my enemies that I made through I didn't talk about them, but all the haters, come at me.
Okay. Well, if you're a hater and want to come at Jess, questquestpodcast@gmail.com. You can also leave us a 5-star review, even if you're a hater. And join us next week when we discuss Space Quest 4.